Alrighty, so when I work with a writer on a book process, which is taking about a year, I have some very strict rules and I'm going to ask you to agree to them. And the rules are there as a container because if you stick to these rules, as silly as they may seem, it does actually get you to the end. Not these rules alone. Obviously, you've got to write the book, but let me go through my biggest ones. So the first rule I have is to stick to a basic word editor. I like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. I don't like these packages like Scrivener and all these other fancy things. I call them distractions. And also what they do, they seem lovely because it's mind mapping and you can see everything there. But what they do is they split your book. And what I'm looking for is a single document in which you start to clock up your word count so I can see that it is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 words. And also there's a flow within the document. So please keep it simple. Don't get into complex packages. The second rule is to write a scene in a sitting. I don't always mean a whole chapter. What I mean by scene is a piece of your book. And the reason is it's hard to interrupt the flow of something. So if you decide you're going to sit down, allocate enough time, and it's a minimum of an hour to sit down and to start working through the piece that you're writing at that time. And don't stand up until it's done. And that can be 1 hour and it can be 5 hours. So that's my suggestion. The next rule, and this is the toughest one of all, and the one that singularly will get you to the end of your book, it is this. There is no editing or revising your previous day's work. I want you to start and I want you to systematically work your way through the book without looking back. And it's a hard one to get your head around. But what I will tell you is if you keep perfecting your first 3 chapters, if you keep refining them and making them better, firstly, you will never get to the end of your book. You'll be stuck there for 2 years. And secondly, the chances are extremely high that those chapters, what you thought was the beginning, will not end up in the final version of your book. So what if you've spent 2 months just with that, wowing people with the start? We don't. We move on. We come back to the start in your second draft, your third draft of your book. Your start will change. It will get better. It will get tighter. It may be completely different. And it may start in a different place. The next rule I'm going to put on your table, on your lap, is to not read any books within your genre for the duration of the writing process all the way to the end of your edit. And the reason is this. I want you to start cutting out the influence of other people, other people's stories, other people's voices, other people's ideas. These books you've read your whole life, we have to put them aside because it's in that void that your own ideas are going to come out, your own voice, your own story. And that may take a little bit of a process. So please do not read books and do not listen to things within the genre. Don't watch movies within the genre because the next second you're thinking, but they did it so well. Should I change my story to be a bit more like their story? And then we become derivative. So we want to retain a level of creative integrity in the process. I am going to also put a rule out there now in my thing of I want you to get very clear about your structure and what you're writing before you start. I have so many writers come to me and they've written 50,000 words and I say, what is it? What genre is the book? And they really don't know. And it is in none of them. It's sort of a meandering story, okay? We don't want that. We want you, because you're embarking on this process with me, with an intention of having a book out there. I would love you to know what you're writing. And we work quite extensively to get you clear on that. And when you know, it is the key that will unlock all structure, because you will understand what is in these kinds of books. What scenes do you need? What components of the book do you need? What kind of characters do these books need? And then you can start to write more intelligently. Another rule, and this isn't a rule, it is more of an observation. It is that there's no such thing as good or bad writing. All the time, writers say, it was so bad. I reread it. It was terrible. I'm embarrassed about my writing. You're getting it wrong, okay? Books are not about the quality of the sentence structure or the grammar. They are about story. And story can mean we are simply swept up with a character or we swept up with a situation. But something happens in a book. And if you get very caught on, I can't write well, my grammar's not good, you're going to start to stumble. In fact, some of the books that you go back and look at are grammatically incorrect. But what they have is heart and have story. So particularly in the first 5 months, in this first draft process, I do not want you to worry about grammar or style or writing or intelligence or being smart or smart sentences or smart words. I want you to use some sort of fire that sweeps you forward and drives a story on the page. So the rest of my rules are in the mentorship, or if you're just watching this randomly, I'm sure you're going to find them on our website. But those are the headline ones that I want you to put in your backpack for now on this writing journey.